This is Pre-Algebra, Chapter 1, Lesson 2. Today we're talking about powers and exponents, and your objective today is to be able to use powers to describe repeated multiplication. For your vocabulary words today, rather than defining each word individually, I'm going to draw you and label a diagram. All right, first, let's identify this big number. The big number is called the base. The small number in the top right is the power or the exponent. Because the exponent has all the power, get it? It gets to tell the base how many times it's going to be used as a factor. So since we have 2 to the 4th power, that means 2 is going to be used as a factor 4 times. 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Remember, factors are numbers that get multiplied together. So 2 to the 4th power can also be said 2 to the power of 4 equals 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Your last vocabulary word, formula, is a mathematical relationship or a rule. I'm sure you can think of many formulas that you already know. Here are a few formulas that you already know. Area is the relationship between the length and the width. A equals L times W. The area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height. And the perimeter of a rectangle is 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. Today we're going to look at a different formula, but first let's review using exponents. In problem A, we have the base 7 being used as a factor 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. So that means our exponential expression is 7 to the 5th power. Example B has our base 0.4 being used as a factor 2 times. So our exponential expression is 0.4 to the 2nd power. Remember, the word factor means that numbers are being multiplied. Example C, our base is A, and A is being used as a factor 4 times. So our exponential expression is A to the 4th power. And our last example, D, gives us a base of R being used as a factor 2, 4, 6 times. Now we're going to slide off to the side so I can show you an additional example that is very important to know. If you have the number -5 being used as a factor, you must make sure that when you write the base, it is in parentheses. So -5 is being used as a factor 3 times. So your base is -5 in parentheses raised to the 3rd power. The parentheses are very important. Here are your checkpoint problems that I would like you to work on. I modified number 4 and gave you a custom example that I would like you to do instead. Great job. Here are your answers. Moving down to example 2, evaluating powers with variables, you are going to use substitution to evaluate the variable exponential expression. So first identify the value of your variable. In this case, x equals 0.4. It's always a good idea to color code your variables within your expression. Now we are going to substitute the value for x, which is 0.4, If you notice, this decimal is also in parentheses. It's important to put decimals in parentheses so you don't mistake that decimal point for multiplication. 0.4 is the base, and the power 3 is telling us that the base is being used as a factor 3 times. So now we are going to evaluate 0.4 to the third power by multiplying 0.4 times 0.4 times 0.4. And your final answer is 0.064. Now this is the section where we're going to talk about formulas. The two formulas we're going to talk about are the area of a square and the volume of a cube. Since squares and cubes have side lengths that are all the same, we can use exponents to represent our formulas. So you are planning to put wall-to-wall carpeting in your room. To do this and to purchase the correct amount, you're going to need the area of your square-shaped floor. Now we know that the formula for area is length times width. But we can change that formula when our length and our width are the same number. Because if we were to plug in 11 for the length and 11 for the width, that just gives us our formula area equals side squared, or area equals side times side. Because it's just too much work to write 11 times 11, we're just going to write 11 to the second power. And then we can evaluate. 11 squared, or 11 times 11 is 121. And remember, our solutions should be written in the form of a sentence so you remember what you're talking about and you can tell the reader what you're talking about. The area of the floor is 121 square feet. Units, units, units are important. Now let's do a volume example. What is the formula for volume? Volume equals length times width times height. But what happens when the shape we're taking the volume of is a cube? That means all of these sides are the same, so all of these values, length, width, and height, are going to be the same. So there's no need to write them all out. So we're just going to say that this cube has a side length of 2. So we would do volume equals 2 times 2 times 2, which would be written as volume equals 2 to the third power. So what's the volume of this cube? The volume of the cube is 8 units cubed. Here are your last 6 checkpoint problems. 5, 6, 7, and 8, you are going to be evaluating the expression when n equals 2. So don't forget to substitute the value for 2 in for n. And for 9 and 10, you are going to be finding the volume of a cube. This cube has side lengths of 2 meters, and number 10, the cube has a side length of 3 feet. Don't forget your units. And here are your final answers. Remember, if you have any questions, be sure to ask in class or attend my afternoon office hours.